going on, guys? Nate here at Tool Dyno Works, and we had a couple requests recently to do some intake testing on the second gen MT-10s, and we had already taken a look at the airbox on these bikes and were 99% certain that there wasn't going to be any significant gains by modifying the new Ram air tubes in the Gen 2 design, but a customer asked us to, and well, we have the bike here, so we figured why not? This MT-10 has the incredibly popular Leo Vince Cat Delete mid-pipe, the stock muffler, stock air filter in here, and then these Ram air tubes that are actually real for once on the Gen 2s that come into the airbox right underneath these grates here have little tiny protrusions that stick maybe that far into the airbox. So we went ahead and shaved those down because they did just barely obstruct the number 4 and number 1 cylinder inlets just to see if it made any difference whatsoever. Now on our dynos, which have always been kind of heartbreakers, because they're not the most generous things in the world. These bikes with a cat delete and a stock muffler and our custom mapping make 151 horsepower to the tire every time, period. In fact, there's the graph showing just that, 150.5 horsepower and 77.6 foot-pounds of torque after our custom tuning on our test bike that we had here with this Leo Vince cat delete mid-pipe and the stock muffler. So what effect did the Ram air tube modification, which again is just shaving off the little bit of excess that sticks out into the airbox on these bikes, which is really the only thing we could find to modify that was worth any sort of trimming or cutting? Well, pretty much nothing. Because that, as you can see there, is our test bike with the same exhaust that it had previously, and that modification made to the intake, and it made 150.7 horsepower and 77.8 foot-pounds of torque, which is gains of like 0.2, which is completely negligible. Anything under a couple horsepower is essentially just run-to-run variance, day-to-day variance, whatever you want to call it, on the dyno. And just so you guys can see the overlay, there is the two final runs for both setups. There's negligible, less than 1 horsepower changes, no matter where you're looking at in the entire RPM range. And the fueling changes were, again, negligible. So as far as modifying the stock intake on the Gen 2 MT-10s, I can now 100% certainly say just leave it alone, because it's not actually going to do much of anything. If you guys ever have any questions about getting your Gen 2 MT-10 properly flashed and tuned, give us a call or shoot us an email at support@tooldynoworks.com. You can always purchase our ECU flashing for these bikes, which is on sale for $325 at twowheeldynoworks.com.